Hey everyone, welcome back to the Real English Show, where we teach you real English, the kind you actually hear in the wild. I'm Alex.
And I'm Maya. Today we're diving into something that trips up English speakers all the time. Words that mean completely different things depending on where you are in the world.
Same word, totally different meaning. You could be trying to communicate something simple and end up in a really awkward situation.
Exactly. So let's explore some of these confusing words and why they happen. Ready?
Let's do it. All right, the first one is pants. Now, in America, pants are just trousers, the normal thing you wear on your legs every day.
But in the UK, pants specifically means underwear. So if you're British and someone compliments your pants, it's not exactly appropriate.
Right. So the correct British term would be trousers. It's a small difference, but it matters a lot depending on who you're talking to.
And this isn't just about being embarrassed. It shows how the same language evolved differently based on location and culture. American English kept pants for outer clothing, while British English reserved it for undergarments.
Language is all about context, and this is a perfect example of why you need to know your audience.
Next up, rubber. In British English, a rubber is simply an eraser. Kids use them in school all the time.
But in American English, rubber is slang for a condom. So imagine a British student in an American classroom asking the teacher, "Can I borrow your rubber?"
The confusion would be instant. The teacher might not know how to respond, and other students would definitely react.
This is a great reminder that even innocent words can carry very different connotations. The British speaker has no idea they've said something awkward, and the American listener is caught off guard.
It's not about one version being right or wrong. It's about understanding that English isn't universal. Different regions have different vocabularies, and that's shaped by history, culture, and social norms.
Exactly. So if you're traveling or speaking with people from different English-speaking countries, it helps to be aware of these differences. Let's talk food now. Chips versus fries. This one causes real confusion.
In the United States, chips are thin, crispy snacks that come in a bag. You know, potato chips, Lay's, Pringles, that kind of thing.
But in the UK, chips are thick-cut fried potatoes, what Americans call French fries.
So when you order fish and chips in London, you're getting fried fish with fries. But if you said that in the US without context, someone might picture fish served with a bag of Lay's.
Not quite the same meal. And just to add another layer, what the British call crisps, Americans call chips. So it's a complete flip.
This shows how food culture influences language. British chip shops have been around for over a century, and the term chips became tied to that specific style of fried potato. Meanwhile, American snack food companies popularized the term for their bagged products.
Exactly. Regional cuisine directly shapes vocabulary, and when these foods cross borders, the words don't always translate perfectly.
Staying with food, let's talk about biscuits.
In the United States, a biscuit is a soft, fluffy bread roll. It's often served warm with butter, sometimes with gravy, very common at breakfast.
But in the UK, a biscuit is what Americans would call a cookie, something sweet, crunchy, often eaten with tea.
So if a British person hears an American say, "I had biscuits and gravy for breakfast," they're imagining cookies covered in gravy, which sounds strange.
Yeah, not appetizing at all. It's another case of the same word representing completely different foods. The American biscuit is more like a scone in British terms, while British biscuits are closer to what Americans call cookies.
And this goes back to colonial history. When English settlers came to America, they adapted recipes and terms based on available ingredients and cooking methods. Over time, the language diverged.
So even something as simple as breakfast can reveal deep cultural and linguistic differences. Now, one of the most famous examples, football.
In the United States, football refers to American football, the sport with helmets, touchdowns, and quarterbacks.
But in almost every other English-speaking country, and really most of the world, football means what Americans call soccer.
So when someone from England says, "I love football," they mean the sport where you actually use your feet to kick a ball into a goal. What an American might immediately think of the NFL.
This creates real confusion in international conversations. You have to clarify which football you're talking about.
And it's not just about sports terminology, it reflects cultural priorities. In the US, American football dominates the sports landscape, so the word belongs to that game. In other countries, association football, soccer, is the dominant sport, so football naturally refers to that.
Language reflects what's culturally significant. The same word points to completely different experiences depending on where you grew up.
Let's do a quick round of more examples, just to show how deep this goes.
Boot. In the UK, that's the trunk of a car. In the US, it's just footwear.
Bonnet. UK for the hood of a car. Americans would only think of a type of hat.
Torch. British for flashlight.
Holiday. British for what Americans call vacation.
Jumper. British for sweater.
And lift. British for elevator.
Each of these shows how two versions of English have evolved in parallel. Neither is wrong, but they can definitely cause misunderstandings.
So why does all this happen? Why do English speakers use different words for the same things?
It comes down to history and geography. When the British Empire spread English around the world, different colonies and regions developed their own versions of the language.
In America, English evolved separately from British English for over 200 years. New words were created, old words took on new meanings, and influences from other languages like Spanish, French, and indigenous languages shaped American vocabulary.
Meanwhile, British English continued evolving in its own way, influenced by its own social changes and cultural shifts.
And it's not just the US and UK. English in Australia, India, South Africa, Canada, the Philippines, they all have their own unique vocabulary and expressions.
What's beautiful about this is that it shows language is alive. It adapts to the people who speak it and the environments they live in.
Exactly. So when someone uses a word differently than you do, it's not wrong. It's just local. And that diversity is actually what makes English such a rich and dynamic language. So, here's the takeaway. If you're learning English or traveling to English-speaking countries, don't assume that everyone uses words the same way you do.
Ask questions, pay attention to context, and don't be afraid to clarify. Most native speakers are aware of these differences and will understand if you get confused.
And if you do make a mistake, like asking for a rubber in an American classroom, just laugh it off. Language mix-ups happen to everyone.
Absolutely. It's all part of the learning process.
All right, folks, that's it for today's episode. Wait, you call that what?
We hope this helped you understand why English can be so confusing and why that's actually a good thing.
If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to like, subscribe, and drop a comment below. Tell us, what's a word that means something different in your country?
We'd love to hear your stories, and who knows, maybe we'll feature them in a future episode.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Until next time, keep learning, keep speaking, and don't worry about the mistakes.